Scanning for audio.
Welcome to a Tin Dog podcast. Before I do my review of Torchwood, which I know is what you're really here for, I just want to bring you all up to date because people keep emailing me and asking me how I'm doing, which is very, very nice of them. So here you go. It's not exactly TARDIS construction update, it's more knee time. Not me time, knee time. It doesn't matter. Basically, the metalwork is still inside me. I was in hospital over Easter on an IV and having some antibiotics straight into my bloodstream to bring down my leg, which was doing a remarkable impression of a sausage, as it had all swollen up as my body tried to fight some sort of infection in the metalwork / in my leg. The antibiotics did far too much good, and I felt better than I had since the initial accident way back in January. My leg swelled back down, didn't swell, unswelled. Either way, I felt a lot better. They've sent me home. For the next 5 weeks, I'm going to be on huge amounts of antibiotic pills in order to get rid of the infection inside my leg. If this fails, I will be going back under the knife. The metalwork will be being either cleaned and then put back, or will be completely removed. For I will no longer be a Cyberman. My body can then get back to recovering. Not that it will be 100% and I will always have a limp. So, here's the question. Do I go for A, Gandalf's staff, or B, rather camp silver-topped cane as my walking aid of choice? I can get back to you on that one at some point, but I'll always probably have a limp because the cartilage is just a little bit screwed up and my body decided to reject all of those little scaffolding cells that they'd put inside, all those DNA-free genius things. Yes, my body just went, no, we're having none of that. So there is a crack in the top of my knee where all of the lovely germs can get in. Right, that's enough about me. Oh, and by the way, the novel's coming along remarkably well. And so far, I've only had 4 rejections from agents, all of which were just a little bit busy and not taking on new people at this time. Whether that is, of course, standard fobbing off or not, I'll let you decide for yourself. But either way, that's coming along swimmingly. So, enough about me. You're here to hear about Torchwood.
This is K9. You are listening to Tin Dog Podcast. Please do not switch off.
Torchwood 2.3. Not that they are in series order. This is one of those stories set after Children of Earth, where Gwen's trying to re-establish Torchwood. This one's called Ghost Mission. It's been written by James Goss, and yes, James Goss's output has been spectacular of late, and more of that in the next podcast, which has already been recorded, but hasn't been released yet, for reasons which are fairly obvious when you find out what that particular release is. It's Ghost Mission. Yes, this is Ghost Mission. Now, although this title is already out, May 2016, it won't be available to buy from any other source outside Big Finish until the 31st of July, basically the beginning of August, when it'll go on general sale elsewhere. So if you do like the sound of this story, and I'm sure you will, that's the only place you can track it down, is the Big Finish website. It's available as a download and as a CD. CD comes in at $9.99, download $7.99. Here's the synopsis. Sergeant Andy Davidson has always wanted to join Torchwood, and now he finally gets his chance. Under the strict observation of his Torchwood Assessor, Andy sets out to prove he's got what it takes. When a chemical spill turns out to have serious consequences, when monsters roam the bay, and when an ancient entity awakes, Andy decides he could do with a helping hand. The problem is his Torchwood Assessor doesn't have any hands. Norton Folgate is a ghost. And as always, there's the standard Torchwood disclaimer, being that it contains adult material and may not be suitable for younger listeners. Now, apart from the fact that you've definitely now got not PC Andy, but Sergeant Andy, played marvellously by Tom Price, this is definitely going to be a Marmite Torchwood story. Which Torchwood story isn't a Marmite one? Fair enough, that's a good question. Some people are going to absolutely love this, and some people are just not going to be overly impressed. The reaction on the Torchwood Forum, or Divergent Universe as it's now known, has been split. But the overwhelming majority are with me, and they do like this story. Yes, Sergeant Andy is, and no offence to anyone involved, a bit of a secondary character. But, as the primary characters of Torchwood have all been killed off, Torchwood does need to reform, and this is a great opportunity to take someone from the original series and basically promote them. Because Tom Price's character was quite well defined. He was a very, very good policeman, and had the sort of skills that could prove useful to Torchwood. He'd always wanted to join, and that made sense, and was always more useful to the crew than he was given credit for. That's the in-universe storyline. But of course, the shining aspect of this particular story is the Polari-speaking Norton Folgate in a role that was actually written for him, Samuel Barnett. Norton Folgate is a character that is so good that if he doesn't come back, it will be an actual crime. He is, to all intents and purposes, a ghost, someone who can't interfere. Think Rimmer from Red Dwarf. Of course, he's able to leave the ship, so don't think Rimmer from the early seasons of Red Dwarf. Think once they got the light bee, but that's not important. He is indeed wisecracking, he's clever, he is world-weary, and of course, he speaks far too much Polari for anyone's own health. He did start to come across as a variant of a Kenneth Williams character from Around the Horn, and as a huge Around the Horn fan, I'd started to grate just a tiny bit at the beginning, and then I decided to accept it wholeheartedly and go with it, and that made things go so much better. Yes, it has a Quantum Leap feel, guy doing all the actual work, somebody trying to help who can't. But just like Doctor Who, taking ideas from elsewhere, using them for your own purpose and repurposing them works. And that's what Torchwood's good at as well. Yes, we've seen this sort of thing elsewhere, but not done like this. And that is at its core what this is about. And it's also what some people have been complaining about. Yes, there are no such thing as original ideas, but there are original executions, and that's what we have here. I don't want to waste your time telling you spoilers, because that's actual narrative content. And yes, a growing knowledge of a growing conspiracy is a useful thing, but even as a standalone story, this just works. Torchwood, and I've said it before, and I will say it again, works brilliantly on audio. And I, for one, am so happy that it's still with us. I hope there's going to be a season 3 or season 4, or just let it keep going so that there's more Torchwood on audio than there ever was on TV, claiming it for its own. If you're not listening to this, do so. Track this down and give it a go. Or wait till there's a Big Finish sale at some point and grab it then. But either way, you will not be disappointed. And with that, I'll fade away and promise you something very special next week. For on the 16th of May, there is the 10th Doctor boxed set. Oh yes, you can listen to Dr. Donna and it's all going to be all right. Trust me on that. So until next time, be seeing you.
Good morning. Mind if I join you?
What? Coming soon from Big Finish Productions. Torchwood. Ghost Mission.
Sergeant Davidson?
Andy, please. My friends call me Andy.
I'm Norton Folgate, Torchwood Assessor. Here's my card.
Torchwood has business cards.
They did in my day.
Huh?
I've been appointed to see if you're ready to join the new Torchwood.
What? Gwen has finally decided to let me in.
This is a day all about you. I've been sent here to assess you. I've come all the way from 1953, so you may have to fill in a few gaps.
1953?
But that's just how we do it sometimes. Guarantees impartiality. Also, it means I can't interfere. I'm... well...
Oh my God, you're a ghost.
2016, yes? You have holograms and nano printers, don't you?
Yeah,
And
but-
a ghost, he says. Open mind, Sergeant. Now then, ready?
Oh, actually, I quite fancy the loo. Can I just...
Tough. Test due to start in... Ooh, now.
Big Finish. We love stories.
Sergeant Andy Davidson, we are on.
That was the Doctor Who Tin Dog podcast, available on iTunes, YouTube, Twitter, RSS, Vimeo, and across the internet. Doctor Who and its associated properties are all copyright and trademark of the BBC. No infringement is intended. Why not become a supporter by visiting patreon.com/tindog. Contact the show on tin-dog@hotmail.co.uk. The Tin Dog podcast is a founder member of the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance.